All right, class, let's take a quick look here. Now that we have the thoracic cavity opened up, and actually opened up very well, this is going to be more than what you folks are probably going to do. I've basically removed the rib cage on both sides pretty far back, so we get an open view. I'm working on preparing this specimen to get into the cardiovascular system, and so I need a little bit more space. But while I was here, I thought that I would take a look at some of the larger structures. So it's going to be a little bit of a miscellaneous as we go. I just wanted to point out a couple of things that you'll probably see. So as I mentioned before, we have the diaphragm that we separated, that separated the abdominal and thoracic cavities. Once you get this separated, it's a fairly thin muscle, and it sits right over top of the liver. Looks kind of like an umbrella. All right, so it's dome shaped, and it is going to go up and down in order to help with breathing. All right. Now that we've gotten in here, we can move this down a little bit, and you'll see this. It looks kind of like a membrane, but it's actually the esophagus that was running from the mouth down to the stomach. It's a little easier to see on this side, because on this side the liver covers it up and the stomach starts really high up there. Okay. You can also see the esophagus if we go up here into the neck. There's two structures, and they're sort of I've pulled them out a little bit, not all the way down, but you'll see just on the top in your video. This is the upper portion of the video. This is the esophagus as well. So again, food traveling down into the stomach. Right beside that, sitting a little more superficial, is the trachea. And the trachea still have a little bit of membrane to it here. The trachea is going to more commonly known as the windpipe. And it actually is a ringed structure. There's cartilaginous rings that run to it to keep it open. And this is going to come down, and it's going to divide and go to each lung. All right. So here are your lungs. You have different lobes. A little easier to see on this side. So there's 1, 2, 3. Over here, 1, 2, 3, and there's another one down there. Okay. I'm not going to go through specifics on the lobes of the lungs. We have enough that we're working through on our dissection unit, so I won't be too specific on that. All right. In the middle, we have the heart. It's still covered with the pericardium and some fat, which I will remove once we get a little deeper. The other thing that we're going to see is that it's easier to find some of your major vessels if we remove the left lung. And I'll show you how we do that once we get a little further into it. And you're basically just coming down to the base, and you're going to snip it off. Then you'll be able to see your major vessels. Here you can just barely see, not a great view, but the aorta. The aorta is going to come off. It's going to arch over. It's going to head down along the spine. The easiest vessel to see here is the superior vena cava. That's draining blood from the upper part of the body. And if we lift up the heart and down here by the going through the diaphragm, this is the inferior vena cava, and this is draining blood, bringing blood back to the heart from the lower part of the body. But I'll go into much more detail on our major vessels. Just wanted to take a quick look at what we're dealing with in the thoracic cavity.